Learning the art and science of medicine is an undertaking that takes years of dedication and persistence to achieve. In the mid-20th century, when medicine was improving at a rapid rate, the systems that existed in the training and identification of doctors was not as well regulated as it is today. This allowed individuals like Gerald Barnabum, a.k.a. Gerald Barnes, to exploit the system for their own ends. The only problem was, he wasn't actually a doctor. Dr. Barnes used the identity of an existing doctor to successfully fail to practice medicine until his final capture in the early 2000s. His story is one of repeated exploitation of the health system to satisfy his lifelong desire to become a doctor at the cost of everyone around him. Witty, charismatic, and charming, Gerald Barnabum grew up in Chicago, Illinois. Not much is known publicly at all about him from the time of his youth, but we can guess that he was drawn to becoming a doctor from a young age. It may have been the white coat, the gleaming stethoscope, the respect, any number of reasons which may have drawn him towards a career in medicine. But for one reason or another, he fell short of his aspirations. He then spent the rest of his life trying to find ways to circumvent that setback. His early life was spent as a pharmacist, before eventually getting his license revoked in 1971 amidst a Medicaid fraud charge. Sometime shortly thereafter, though, he decided to legally change his name to Gerald Barnes, taking the identity of a licensed orthopedic surgeon from Stockton. Now, I know what you're thinking. How exactly does one impersonate an orthopedic surgeon? Fortunately, under this moniker, most of Gerald's work involved preventative care and annual physicals at a downtown Los Angeles medical center. He spent his career seeing hundreds of patients with untold consequences, including several police officers and federal agents. To most, he seemed the very embodiment of the Hippocratic Oath, with a confident and charismatic manner. But slowly, some of the more observant FBI agents began to pick up errors in his judgment. And from then on, it was only a matter of time before he slipped up and a formal investigation began. And slip up he did. In 1979, when John Mackenzie, a 29-year-old male, came in complaining of a dry mouth, chronic thirst, dizziness, and weight loss that had come on suddenly. For any real doctor, these are the telltale signs of DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, usually the first presentation of a patient with new-onset type 1 diabetes. Unfortunately, John had come to the wrong place, as the doctor in front of him did not see the emergency unfolding and dismissed him after taking a few blood tests, providing instead some medication for vertigo. He was found 3 days later, dead in his apartment. The blood test returned shortly thereafter, showing a blood glucose reading in the hundreds, indicating severe hyperglycemia. But by then it was too late. Barnabum's assistant, seeing through this deception and honestly wondering how someone could miss this diagnosis, immediately informed the police, leading to his first arrest. His murder charge was reduced to manslaughter, and he was paroled after an 18-month sentence. Shortly after his release, he went right back to practicing medicine and was caught in 1984 using the same alias. The cycle repeated itself a few more times, all the while Barnabum made hundreds of thousands of dollars billing medical facilities and individuals under various aliases. When federal agents eventually gathered enough evidence to convict him, they brought in the full force of the law, charging him with defrauding medical employees, a crime that carries a lifetime sentence. As Gerald sensed the walls closing in, he initially faked suicidal intent, and at one point a heart attack. He made a desperate last-ditch attempt during a prison transfer, escaping before being caught shortly after. Gerald then spent the rest of his life in prison, dying on June 15, 2018, at the age of 84. Although our medical system has improved, there may still be others out there following in Gerald's footsteps, for whom we should be ever vigilant. Thank you for staying until the end and joining me on this journey to investigate the hearts and the minds of doctors and scientists that came before me. If you would like to support the channel, you know what to do. and see you in the next episode.